Have you seen the crazy wild success of Judge.me? Have you seen that?
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
insane.
successful.
It's not successful.
This is my point. It's not. It's a $12 million ARR business. That's nothing. That's tiny.
Yeah, but I feel like you're defining it. You're defining like successful differently, right? Like I remember when you had talked, you had mentioned about you were talking with a mentor, being like, oh, like what kind of outcome do you want? And like you defined the outcome very specifically. But like if you were to define the outcome as generational wealth, then the Judge Me situation is like very successful.
They're also only I believe they're only a few. I might be wrong. I don't know how. I think they're only a few years old. Um, but also they they just announced that they're like going all in on Shopify, and they barely scratch the surface of their market cap. Like this is this like they could keep like how many reviews businesses are out there right on Shopify, right? If it's true that they're eating everyone's lunch, they have a long way to go. So 12 million ARR business turns into 24 next year, turns into whatever next year.
No, dude, they're already half penetrated.
Are they
That,
really?
yeah, dude. Dude. This is the problem.
I think the question,
Huh.
no, but here's the thing. I think the question is not whether Judge Me can double via the playbook that they're running, but like if they decided to somehow start to run a, let's call it higher value review tool offer, the leverage that they have from their current penetration increases the likelihood of that success like significantly versus being like, oh, we're a new review tool that starts at $12.99 a month, like $1,299, and we're going to market fresh. Like, is if they can figure out the $24,000 annual contract and whatever they need to do to the product, their penetration that they currently have through their low cost product multiplies the likelihood of that success, right?
I
Like it's
totally agree. Yeah, I take everything back if what they do is reinvest the profit into building new products. Everything. My kerfuffle with Judge Me is that from everything I can tell, they are like extremely happy to provide a low cost product with maximum penetration and to just like let that thing run and like just draw distributions basically. So I'm super happy to be wrong about this, by the way. Like, because if they do what you're saying, Zach, what they are doing is a bottom-up attack on Yotpo, and then their upside is massive, which I am like. Then of course it's a brilliant strategy, right? And will like win massively.
But who's better situated? Like they have the best layout on the chessboard. Like they're sitting in the best position because who's gonna disrupt who? Like are they more likely to disrupt Yotpo's or Yotpo more likely to disrupt? Yotpo can never dream of like I think disrupting them. They like cannot unseat or touch that. Like they going from up market to bottom market is much harder than vice versa, right?
like 100%. Because to go down market, you have to justify the incremental unit cost of your team's time to deliver a lower cost product versus being like, oh, we have a cash flowing solid business in which people are happy with the product. Now let's divert our team's energy to a higher value product. It's all upside with almost no downside. Like the only downside would be like, oh, we're taking the eye off the ball of our cheap product. But like the reason why Judge Me is good, and I used to be a Judge Me customer, like when I had my e-commerce stores, like the product is also good. Like it's not like just a low cost product. Like it is one of these tools that just like gives you what you want and like covers like 90% of your use cases and has like more integrations than most of the other tools. Like what I've found with like higher value or higher subscription cost tools is that often what happens is they actually have less integrations and then you end up buying a bunch of other tools that are also higher priced because you already made the choice on this one. And like you're like, fuck, like this wasn't just choosing one high price tool, this is now choosing like 10 high price tools if integrations are needed for the success.
Rashab, is there a world in which like so Fermat is a like enterprise grade product, right? Like you guys go after like enterprise deal, like long-term enterprise deals, right? Um, is there a world in which like um, a motivated upstart can create like the judge me to your Yapo? Like, is that like, can someone create like a super low cost commodified version of what you do for the masses and the mom and pop stores out there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're trying to do that to ourselves, actually. So we have like a $500 a month version now, which is like what I would describe is the Judge Me version of Fermat, because basically it's like now in the band of a LP building tool, but it is the entirety of the Fermat product suite, like cut up for an SMB, right? So like people are like, for instance, choosing that over like Replo, basically. So it is like the equivalent of what I would describe as the Judge Me version of Fermat. And so maybe it's like personal bias, because like we did it ourselves, which is why like I'm not sure if it's easier or harder. Like I don't know which direction is easier or harder. Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm curious because we're doing something very similar right now at Marpipe. Does it feel like running a separate business? Like, does it like how is it going? Like, you launched like the other like the kind of self-serve version of it, right? Like, yeah. I mean, is it how far along is it? Is it going really well? Like, are retention metrics and growth like are you growing it the same way?
Yeah, I can tell you guys all the data. So we ran a pilot in December of 8 customers that we did not announce anywhere. So we literally sent out like 50 emails to our email list and got 8 people to sign up. And of those 8, 6 retained for like over 6 months. Okay. And their usage patterns were incredible. And it like didn't make any sense at all, like why they were using it so much relative to the rest of our customers. So we like tried to understand that. And then we like launched it in the sense that we then assigned an AE to like dial for dollars, basically. So this guy, his goal is 20 customers a month at this like roughly $500 to $1,000 a month MRR contracts. So basically he's paying back his own salary on in month 1 um of the outbound. So we're still not marketing it, but we started doing dial for dollars, and then we launched a public pricing page with that offer in April or May. I can't remember now. It's been like 3 months basically. And the monthly churn is like 10 to 15% if I'm not mistaken. So Zach was like talking about a bunch of tools that he uses for churn mitigation, which we're like starting to implement. But again, the usage of these customers is like nothing I've ever seen. Like they're like thrilled to have access to the tool. It's like, yeah, I was like genuinely not expecting this. And so we're in the early days. We hired after this one guy's success, we hired 3 more AEs because I'm just like being well, this is like what being well capitalized enables is like instead of like slowly growing it, I'm just like F it. Like let's just see what extreme we can push. So we're going from 1 to 4 instead of 1 to 2, right on the outbound AE side. The second AE we hired is going to close 8 deals in his first month here. The next 2 who we hired have already booked 3 meetings in their first week here.
Are they
And
fishing
so
from your like existing email list? Cold
not
outbound.
even phone. Yeah, dial for dollars.
Dude, the cold calling is working really well right now. Cold
I know,
calling
it's
is crushing
crazy.
it right now. Yeah, yeah, that's working. We're scaling out cold calling also. I had no idea cold calling would work this well for right. Like marketers are picking up the phone. It's crazy.
I recently got upsold through a cold call from SEMrush. So maybe it is working. And I never pick up my phone. Maybe it was because like, oh, like we definitely have a little bit crossover from SEMrush. So I was like, maybe this is actually like a real call, not a sales call. But yeah, I mean, we haven't tried that at all. We've actually like just started putting like kind of attention into our sales process. So
don't do email outbound, Jack and Zach. I don't know, Dan, if you guys have success with email outbound, but it's like trash for us. But calling works. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I got our first 100 customers email outbound.
This was 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
It works for us.
Yeah, 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago now.
Wait, Dan, you guys do email outbound and it works?
Yeah, but we can't scale it too much. That's the only thing. It's consistent. So we're running cold email outbound. It's booking a set number of meetings every week, but when we try to push it further, you just can't, like, it's like a retargeting campaign, like it works great, but you can't scale it. That's how we're looking at email right now. Yeah.
What scale can you hit in meetings? Like is it like in the 5 to 10 range? Is it in the 10 to 20? Like what range are we talking in terms of
5 to 10
meetings per week?
5 to
Okay.
10 per week with one person allocating like maybe 20% of their effort to it. You guys don't run any of it at all. Cold. So
Yeah.
so your outbound channel is like all calls.
I feel like, Rashad, for you, cold email could work really well because you guys do have like legacy sort of competitors in a space that you could identify through like built with or store leads or something like that. Like you could have like very targeted cold email.
Yeah, we could have. So, I mean, okay. This is like, this is good discussion. But I feel like for us, the biggest reason we have found cold email to not be effective is it's not obvious to us that the person we are cold emailing doesn't know us already. Because our marketing is sufficiently wide that people are aware of Fermat, it's actually more effective for us when we do retargeting ads than it is to do cold email outbound. And so it has more to do with like just like catching the person in the moment when they are ready to make the purchase. And that's why for us, our cold email efficacy is really bad because you can't just like email someone every week, right? But you can keep them on a retargeting campaign forever, right? And not have like a frequency cap or whatever it is, right? And so so we have this like dynamic where I think because the awareness level is very high, it has more to do with when is the person ready to purchase and not like are they reachable via email.
Do you do things for the sole purpose of generating like top of funnel like brand awareness for Fermat?
I mean, that's like, I don't know what else Rabba does actually. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I literally can't think of anything else that we do.
It's kind of a big part of the go-to-market play, right? You've got sales team, you've got everything else that's working to get people across the finish line. But yeah, I couldn't agree more on just how competitive email is. That top of inbox real estate is so fragile. But if you call someone, they pick up, you've got them, right? If you send them an email and they don't check it within, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, it's on the second page of their inbox. They're not going back to the second page to see it, you know?
You guys have like a cold email that you always seem to come back to that like always works, whether you're using it to get customers or even just get someone's attention? Like I have one that like I've tested a bunch of different things, like even not selling, like just wanting to get in front of someone. I like send the original cold email that's like outlining the whatever I want or like whatever I'm willing to give or something. And then by far the thing that gets the most replies out of anything I've ever sent is a reply to the first email that just says, and it's all lowercase, that just says, "Am I totally off here or nah? TXT me if easier with my phone number," and then sent from iPhone. I've like honestly, my reply rate is like 80%, and most people will text me. Like
What?
I recently tried to get in contact with like a I'm not going to say the exact position, but a C level at like a publicly traded very large company, and sent the email, nothing. Tried to get like an intro, nothing. Sent am I totally off here or not? Text me if easier, sent from iPhone, and had a reply within like 5 minutes on text.
Dude,
What the heck?
I'm sending a note to my email guy right now to test that.
Wait, Dan, just look in your outbox. Dude, just do it. Let's do this. Let's do this live, man. Go to your sent, search for someone who hasn't replied to you in 2 days, and send that message.
I'm gonna need to log into these like outbound tools that they use for the first time in ages right now.
Oh, you can't. It doesn't just show up in your sent in your Gmail.
No. I mean, it's not going. The email outbound running isn't going from my email. It's going from like our team members' emails.
Got it. Okay, got it.
From Marpipe with 4ps.com.
Try Marpipe, get Marpipe, Marpipe now. We got it all.
Marpipe now.
Not Marpipe later, like Jack would like to think. Marpipe now.
Oh man, so funny.
And I was scrolling through the list of things in my head, like I was scrolling through the list of things that Raba does, and I was like, wow, it really is all top of funnel. Okay, so you guys raised a ton of money, and you can blow money fast on big shots on goal with marketing things. What is like? Is it events that's working the best for you guys? Is it events?
Yeah. Dude, the combo, I'll tell you, like, the insight that I had probably last year, which is the thing that we just, like, keep leaning into, is events and social content. If you just keep doing that, it creates this aura that you are everywhere all the time. And, like, that, and that is how people feel about us. It's just like, dude, I just keep seeing you guys. Like, that's like the number one thing people will say to me. And it's because we show up in people's social feeds and we show up in real life. Like, someone from the team will be at some event every week. We're at, by the way, as of July 24th, we have done 50 events this year. That's like an insane number by any way you measure that. Yeah.
How do you think? Do you just like look at like every event that's happening in like e-commerce and like DTC? You're just like, all right, if it's happening, we're sponsoring it, and you get the package tiers, and you guys make like some impromptu decisions, like feel it out.
Yeah, or buy a ticket. Like someone goes.
Yeah. Are you sending? Yeah, it's like okay. I saw you guys were just hiring. I saw Alexa just made a post. You guys are hiring for like an events manager person. This makes sense for you guys. When it comes to social content, you mentioned the content piece. Is that like your whiteboard videos, or like is that like is there more like what's the content engine look like?
Yeah, I mean, like the answer is in the question, right? It's like there's a bunch of content, and then there's like the one thing that doesn't look like the others, which is the whiteboard thing that I do once a week. And so like when I am at an event, people will like walk up to me because I'm the whiteboard guy. And so this like plays into the whole like social content event marketing system because there's like a thing to talk about now.
Yeah.
Like general content doesn't give you anything to talk about, right? It's just like, hey, well, actually this podcast is good in that context because this podcast is not like other forms of content because it's like we're like very transparent about how we think about SaaS and SaaS pricing and e-com and all that sort of stuff, which like in like the Twitterverse feels very taboo. And so that's like helpful because it's like another thing that someone can like talk to you about when they see you in person. But it's just fodder for like basically two things. One is build connection and the second is build trust. Right. And there's like something about going on a whiteboard which both builds connection and trust. And so that's like basically that's basically what's happening.
Yeah. We're right now like spinning up this engine at Marpipe for the first time really. Like our marketing. So I'm a partner in a events business in the space called Ecom Founders that you guys have participated in some of our stuff before. And so like we get to see, like I kind of, over the past year to 2 years when we were like kind of building this up, I got to see firsthand like how crazy effective events actually are. And so we're building out our like Marpipe's whole like kind of engine there, like how we're selecting events, how we're showing up at all of them. And we're currently hiring an in-house, a full-time in-house content creator. Like I want someone who makes content like just like Oren John and like Ashwin, like those guys. I want a full-time person doing that at Marpipe like all day. Very hard to find, by the way. Very hard to find.
Yeah.
You don't need that. Just run catalog ads with your different subscription plans.
That hasn't convinced you to do it yet, Jack.
That's true. That's
So
true.
we got to try something else.
One of the things I like about creators like Oren John, I mean, you know his name, he gives you distribution. I'm not against the idea of owning your own distribution, having your own creator, but assuming the creator is good, like really good, like Oren John, right? Somebody who's been able to build an audience, then they don't need you. Or maybe they need you, but you transact with them as a partner and you get the distribution from them. I think partners are awesome. We've worked with Oren in the past and, we've tapped into his audience. If you take the angle of creating the content yourself in-house, you get to own it for some time and for as long as you retain that employee. But it will slip from you and you won't have a reliable system for working with creators for distribution as well as content, right?
I think you should do both. You should do both.
I
Like,
agree.
you know who does this? You know who does this really well? Death to Stock. They brand new stock image company. There's a million of them out there. They're literally a commodity SaaS product, and they're absolutely fucking up the industry right now because they're pulling this off, this like distribution thing really well, and no other stock company knows how to do it. They're like sponsoring all of like those guys' content. They have their own built channels, their own channels where they're just like making cool stuff designers want to see all day, and it helps that they have a really high level of taste too.
Yeah, like a significant level of their success is their product, right? Like it's like you have stock image website like Adobe Stock, and it has everything in the world, whereas like Death to Stock is a niche of Adobe Stock, and they chose a niche that related the most to their core user, which is just like very high taste, very high art direction type stuff. And so like the question is like, can Death to Stock get as big as Adobe Stock and like, or like Shutterstock or something like that? And it's like, well, maybe, but the issue is like to get that wide of an umbrella, meaning the person that's downloading an image of like a medal to put onto a random flyer for their T-ball league, like that would never be on Death to Stock. So it's like an interesting thing. Like I subscribe to it because of like the product. And I think they disrupted it, but like the disruption only happened in a niche. Like,
do you guys buy this like concept of like luxury software where it's like, how like at the grocery store, like you'll have the same product, but like if Fishwife packages the tinned fish with like really good design and packaging, you'll pay twice as much for the same tinned fish if it like looks really good and feels luxury and like the cool kids of DTC are doing it, right? Or whatever, right? Like, does that same thing exist in software? You think like there's room for players that are just like a luxury version of a commodified thing?
as long as the quality goes beyond like the marketing website and into the product, the feeling of luxury needs to also be in the product, not just like the landing page. Whereas like in this case, you could put the tinned fish in a different container and it elevates the experience at some level. The actual use of software, and especially because it's on subscription and not one-time payment, means that that feeling of luxury needs to like also exist. Like I think inside of the product. I mean, it's like the number one thing that like we focus on is like fit and finish of product, and not as much on features.
Yeah. I'm working on so we're cooking up something at Marpipe right now, and I'd be really curious to get your guys like feedback, like kind of like a trial by fire, like tell me where I'm going wrong, like let me know like if this is a good or bad idea. I don't know. By the way, I hope I'm not hijacking the conversation. I don't know if you guys.
No, let's do it.
Great.
Okay. Okay, cool. So okay. So like what Marpipe does is like we turn the like product catalogs for brands into their like best looking and hopefully best performing ad creative, right? So we're like kind of like a design platform for product catalogs, right? You can upload your spreadsheet of products, and then in Marpipe you can cook up like really awesome dynamic templates that transform it into like things that look like ads you'd actually run rather than just skew images. And then you have like that opens up the whole world of like unlimited creative testing for catalog ads, which people can't do without something like Marpipe. You can't creative test catalog ads. So so that's what we do. We call this feed. There's this whole industry of like product feed enrichment, right? We call our product enriched catalogs because we say like when you design your catalog, you've improved it, you've enriched your like the core raw asset. So instead of like using the core raw like regular thing, enrich it, make it look better. There's also other things that fall under this like category of feed enrichment. Like for example, understanding like which product SKUs perform well and don't, and like auto filtering them out of your feed so that the bad SKUs don't run in ads is like another way to enrich the feed. Another thing is like most feeds are dumb and don't have a lot of information that's important for you to include. So using Gen AI to supplement the information in your feed with like better media descriptions, good taxonomy, that's a form of feed enrichment, right? So feed enrichment is for people who want to get like who are like good, like who are running catalog ads and want to improve them, or you want to go down that route. That's the world that Marpipe plays in, and that's what we're known for and are good at. That's why people come to us. The other thing, the piece before feed enrichment is like feed management, right? Just like the actual product feed itself, right?
Yeah. Which is like
So
Feedonomics and those types of companies are participants in that ecosystem, right?
exactly. There's a huge ecosystem. And the thing about it is it's an absolute necessity. This is like feed enrichment is a nice to have, but feed management is a need to have for every single e-commerce business. Like if you're selling things online, you need to use a Go Data Feed, a Data Feed Watch, a Feedonomics, a Flexify. There's a whole industry around feed management, and everybody has to use it, right? The thing is like when marketing budgets are getting cut, like Marpipe is one of the things that they would cut, right? But if you're an e-commerce store, you can't cut your feed management software tool because that's like your source of truth on like what you sell. It's like your spreadsheet for like managing your actual like product inventory and your things, right? So it's an essential critical category. So everyone needs to use a feed management tool, right? And we looked at kind of when we're talking to our customers, like obviously we work with all these customers and that like use feed management tool. Everyone has one, and we're really involved in that value chain because we're taking that feed and enriching it. And everyone hates their feed management tool. Like these are all like a bunch of really old stale companies, and like the tools are like very like look very clunky, like were built a really long time ago, right? And we found out that it's kind of like a glorified spreadsheet almost. It's really not like crazy hard software to build. And we like the actual hosting costs are also really low. Like to power feed management for like a regular sized, mid-sized Shopify brand is like not that expensive. The margin is really high on it. And every brand has to pay like a few $100 at least to their feed management tool. So we were like, what if we build one and release it for free, right? As like a loss leader, right? Where it wouldn't really be like that much of a loss leader because it's just so cheap to like host this for brands. And we just do like completely free basic feed management should be free. Here's a totally free one that Marpipe is offering. You can just rip and replace. You could save a few $100 that you pay to whatever it is you use today, and use Marpipe for free. And then when you're ready to like grow and start like getting fancy, you can pay us to enrich it. What do we think? Where can we go wrong here?
Well,
A plus.
Okay, I'm gonna say something different. One of our customers or one of our competitors tried to do this and it didn't work. And one of the reasons why this didn't work is because, and they approached it the same way that you're approaching it, which is like, oh, this is like pretty standard. Everybody kind of uses it, but they forgot about like the nuances of making something like good. And when you don't have the incentive of growing the business like at the end of the day, at the first of every month, the only thing that you're going to be worried about after you release this is still growing the business, right? And so when you have a big thing that needs improvement but doesn't directly grow the business, it like gets pushed back to like the bottom of your backlog. And then like what we did kind of in response is like, oh, fair pricing on a similar product, but we have the incentive to still make it better outside of like our loss leader is better. I think like potentially a better approach would be like you get the marketing bump of like maybe it's free for 30 days or something, because then you also get like a little bit of urgency built in. But then beyond that, like if you actually build good software, like just charge for it and continue to make it better. I really don't believe ever like the free tool will end up in most cases like annihilating these feedonomic type tools. And so why leave that TAM on the table when it could be in your pocket? Like maybe you can get
Zach.
Yeah.
Dude, can I share a point of view on this? Okay. I think the insight was in the setup, which is like for a certain number of SKUs, you enable it for free. So like the upsell and the price actually is baked in, because the problem with the feed tool, so unlike what happened in your case, this feed tool has a natural mechanism where as soon as you cross a certain SKU threshold count, like by definition, you will start paying for it. So you don't even have to do like a time period thing.
Did you say that,
like
Dan?
the thing
That it was going to be free to start? Like it's a premium then. It's not free.
So we were what we're releasing is a free version capped at 100,000 SKUs, and very few brands like would ever go. Like if you're over 100, so there's like basic feed management tools and there's like complex feed management tools, which like if you're Nike and you operate in 73 global markets and have like 73 different product feeds that are all divided in languages and all that shit, right? Like we're not serving that. We're serving the basic feed market, and in the basic feed market, the amount of brands over 100,000 SKUs is like very low, right? Like most brands don't have over 100K SKUs. So it would generally be free forever for most brands under the current setup that we have it. And we're still workshopping this right now, right? This is like a work in progress. We're still kind of figuring out the nuances. Rashad, maybe you think that we should like augment that, but the idea is if it's free forever for a bunch of brands and they come to Marpipe to like just do their basic everyday feed management, which is like a commodity at this point, when they're ready, like built into the product will be tons of upsells to enrich your feed. Like for example, like, hey, did you know, like, hey, we see you running Meta Facebook ads, like Meta catalog ads. There's a ton of, SKUs that you're running ad spend to that you don't even know about that are like not performing well. If you just click this button, it'll fix that problem for you, but you have to pay to click that button.
So when you say commoditized, is there free feed management tools on the market right now?
Yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about, because I think this is a question of who you're competing with. You know, for the e-commerce brands that we serve, right? Sure, you could sell or try to sell trainers at $3, but you're going to be competing with Temu, you're going to be competing with Amazon, you're going to be competing with these Goliaths that operate at tiny margins, own the manufacturing, and it's just probably not feasible for you to play in that space. They're going to squash you, right? Shopify, I mean, I've been out of the loop for a minute, but I know of like 10 million plus brands that will just use Shopify's feed in the Facebook and Instagram sales channel app. And they'll use Google and YouTube sales channel app for their feed to YouTube, to Google. So it's like, that might be the space that you're competing in, which is a feed that's absolutely free and you can edit directly in Shopify. I mean, don't get me wrong, there might be demand from the market for something that's better than that for like feed management tools. But like, I know of lots of brands that are just using the Facebook and Instagram sales channel app.
So just one thing on that, just Jack, because I think I would agree with you normally, but the Shopify Meta integration, feed integration is a disaster. You guys wouldn't know this because you're not close to the problem, but everybody is unwinding it. Why? Because Shopify has built a dependency on their app ecosystem to make feed tools people actually use. They haven't built a good one out themselves. So when they announced this big Meta integration, there was all this fanfare about like, oh man, they're like, solving that. But then brands realize you can't do basic shit like just modify your feed, create categories, add tags to products. all that basic stuff you cannot do in Facebook with a Shopify integration. So then all of these people are now unwinding it and going to like that has already happened, right? A bunch of brand, like everyone who's tried it, who's like seriously running catalog ads, no one uses that anymore because it was riddled with problems because Shopify over relies on their app ecosystem for people to like handle those things and didn't like understand the nuances of like what makes a good like feed management tool.
Yeah, I couldn't
So
agree
now
more.
there's like, yeah.
But it's like, who occupies the space for the 80/20 product? For the product that just isn't good enough, but it does the job for a lot of users. I mean, like I said, I've been out of the loop for a minute, but I used to work with hundreds of Shopify brands. And so many of them had stopped using Data Feed Watch and just started using Facebook and Instagram. I mean, like the Facebook and Instagram sales channel app replaced like conversion tracking setups for all of these e-commerce brands. They were like, oh, wow, this just works. Maybe it's not the best, right? Maybe I need all these other tools and I might ascend to something better, but it's the 80/20, right? I think that's the space that you play in. And then you've just got to like, maybe, I mean, hope that that product doesn't get any better. And there's a really good reason why it wouldn't get any better. But for a lot of brands, I think it fills the use case, right? It solves the use case.
Yeah, I'm going to take the other side of this, which is I think like the particular problem statement that Dan plays in is like, I'm enhancing this, like it is already in this pipeline in a very like direct way. And so saying, hey, I'm going to help with the first part of the pipeline, so that way like flow comes to the second part of my pipeline, is incentive to make sure that that product is good enough. And again, like the words and the words matter here, which is like the basic tools. Inside of that is like what will end up happening in practice, in my opinion, is not that there will not be demand for it. It is that the demand for it will then demand more features, which is closer to what Zach is saying. And so once you start to hear your customers complain, you will have to price those things that are the higher leverage features for a feed management tool, which then lands you in the same place as the quote unquote other players in the space. So like you will never be able to have like it will not in practice be free for everyone all the time. What it will be is an on-ramp for everyone that is feature gated in a way in which, as like demand for additional features or a high SKU count management will just be like it will be one of the ways that you think about enhancing that feed, which today the app that you have on your feed management is the image change, right? An image change will end up becoming one of your apps. That is like one of the things that people do. Again, like in my view, I think it is the right way to do it. And I think you have plenty of incentive to like have a good enough on-ramp that gets people asking you for more apps on top, basically.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Jack, I yeah, anyway, that's my view. But
I like what you said there about good enough, because I think that Dan and Rashab and Zach for foreplay as well, you kind of occupy in the space of not just good enough, but better, right? I think one of the main reasons people don't get Marpipe is because their catalog ads slap. And they're like, actually, I don't need this. And what if it breaks things? Is there any risk of introducing Marpipe when my catalog ads are already getting all my spend and they're crushing, right? I think it's the same thing with Format, right? People could build landing pages and gem pages in their Shopify store, but they want something better, right? They're not coming to you for good enough. So if you play in that space of good enough, like who are you competing with, right? That would just be my concern. But I also think that if you can surprise and delight and serve a real market demand that isn't being served by the good enough right now, then yeah, it can work for sure.
Zoom has a 40-minute like free version. Like I think like the model for this type of business is quite proven. Like I don't actually think it's that risky. Yeah.
well, here's the fun part. It's we're already doing it. It's happening. It's coming out August 1st. So
We're gonna find out.
So we're gonna fucking find out. Yeah, exactly. And the campaign is so we're not, Jack, to your point, we're not saying we're better than your current basic feed management tool. We're saying we are at parity with them and we're free. And we have this. So and then Rashad, to your point, you're absolutely right. There's this basket of features we call basic feed management, which is good enough for most small brands. And then we're going to say there's advanced feed management, which is obviously the next basket of features that's like more complex, right? For more sophisticated use cases, that's going to be feature gated. But we're going to run this big campaign that's going to be like basic feed management should be free. Why are you paying a tax? Why are you like, why no one should be paying a few $100 for their basic feed management tool. Then the incentive, then it'll just be, and that's like a big bet to just get to blow the doors wide open and like the TAM we can speak to now. And then from there, it's how well our product can upsell and how well we can upsell within the product. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe I'll come back in 6 months or so and kind of give you guys the breakdown on how it went. We could do like a before and after or something. See how it goes.
Yeah, I'm betting on the upside. So
My biggest point was just about leverage. That's it. Like if you're going to build a tool and you could have charged someone for it, potentially there is more leverage in that than the upsell motion. Because there's also like a lot of documentation about the freemium model and like what size your TAM needs to be for freemium to make sense. And like generally 10 million is like the benchmark across the board of like, like having like really solid support and like product focus on freemium. If your TAM is under 10 million, and like there's like a big Patrick Campbell like article about it. And I just like looked from like a resource constraint perspective, which is just like you have dev resources. The leverage on those dev resources is like, yeah, you could get some sort of viral effect or K factor of a free tool, or you could get revenue in. And I don't know, like that's just the question. In the next 12 months, does the business grow more from adding a new product SKU that people are willing to pay for? Or does it come from a free tool with a percentage of people that go to the main product?
If the free tool doesn't lead to revenue growth, it would be a failure. The mechanism for it leading to revenue growth would be through us upselling. Like if we could just upsell 2%, 1% of those people, we're in a really good place, right? So yeah, we'll have to, and that'll come down to like, yeah, good execution.
We'll have to do episode follow up. And like September 1st, September 30th, and we'll break it down.
For sure.
Happy to do it.
Guys, on the topic of pricing, this one came up recently and Jeremiah sent it in our chat. The whole point of SaaS, is that subscriptions fund ongoing improvement. Charging extra for new features breaks that trust. Want to sell new functionality separately? Go back to selling licensed software. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm happy to have him pay upfront for the use over time instead of over time. SaaS is a payment plan, so I'm happy for anyone of this variety to just like, for me to say like, yeah, you can just pay all 24 months upfront, actually, and there is no SaaS fee. Like totally fine by me.
Rashad, how much would you sell a lifetime subscription for amount for?
24 months worth. Like
no,
I would just
like no, I'm saying, but how much would you sell a lifetime subscription for? Like there's a number, right?
Sorry. What I am saying is like my assumption of the customer lifetime is like somewhere between 2 and 3 years. And so like let's just call it 3 years. And so I would be willing to take 2 years worth. So I don't like, I'm just going to make something up. If this person is like, on the 500 a month plan, then it's like, yeah, I'm like happy for you to just upfront pay me 12K. That's it. You know what I mean? Like don't pay me 500 a month.
No,
that is what I'm trying to say.
You can't think this is a good take. There's no way.
No, I don't think this is a good take. That's my precise point. I'm pointing out what I think is like the logical fallacy of this take.
Where like from the perspective, I think from the perspective, like he's the Xavier guy. See, he's talking from the perspective of like that, right? From the customer perspective here, but like at Marpipe, initially when we launched enriched catalogs, our churn numbers weren't as good as we wanted them to be. So what did we do? We kept building like valuable new features that we just kept layering in for free and making sure to get high adoption until our churn rate was fixed and we had like amazing retention. Then when we had amazing retention and we figured out, wow, okay, people like the amount that people pay to the value that they receive has been met and is like satisfactory to all customers. Now when we add more valuable features, like after that point, when we add more features, we can charge more, but not before that. Until your retention is amazing, you keep just throwing in the value. But after that point, the market gives you signal that you can charge more.
I think if a SaaS brand was like, you know what, from today to tomorrow, we're just going to charge more to all new customers, and the market was willing to pay it, then fine. And oh man, the whole point of SaaS being that subscriptions fund ongoing improvement. The whole point of SaaS isn't R&D, right? The point of the subscription
SaaS
is
is a payment model. No,
Right.
guys. This is my point. SaaS is a payment model. It has nothing to do with features. Okay, like I pay on an ongoing basis instead of upfront, and it is like a benefit to the buyer that they can pay ongoing instead of upfront because it spreads the cost over time, and the risk is taken entirely by the SaaS company. Like that's why most SaaS companies have to pull, like many SaaS companies, not most, right? Like Foreplay, you guys bootstrap, but many SaaS companies, the reason why they raise capital is precisely because SaaS is a payment mechanism, right? And so you have to fund it upfront.
I don't understand what you mean by it has nothing to do with features, right? Like how can
Let me give you a good example. You're going to add like a feed management tool, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're choosing, like, you could choose to price it like Zach is saying, right? And or a customer can just like go buy from someone else, right? Like a Feedonomics or whatever, or a feed, whatever these other tools are called. So what I'm trying to say is that the fact that there's an ongoing price has nothing to do with whether or not you are adding that as a feature. Like those two things are separate, right? Like this take would imply like, hey, that thing should just be included because I'm already paying for this other thing. Like that's what I mean by they're unrelated. Like SaaS is a payment mechanism. Now, if there's like a value problem, that's just a business problem, no matter how the payment mechanism is structured, right? Which also I agree with, by the way, Dan. Like I also agree with that point that like a way to fix the value exchange problem is to add new features, right? You could also reduce the price, right? I don't know that would have worked in your particular case, but I'm just saying that like, yeah, I think that there is like which is why we are doing this, which is why I like this podcast, honestly. It's like, I think like, I hope more and more people listen to it because I think there's just a lot of like fallacies that people hold about like the business of SaaS, which is like, it turns out it's just like any other business. You know what I mean? Like it's like not special.
Right, Zach. I can see the wheels are turning. What do you think? Do you think that subscribers are owed access to new features, and that if you
No, you're
charge for
not
new
owed
features,
anything because the contract that you signed up for it last month, you knew what the features were, and then it changed, and so like this is silly. I get what he's saying sometimes, but you were already happy paying the previous price without that feature. I mean, I think if you're a SaaS company that doesn't do this well, then like meaning, oh, you're like nickel and diming people, then that's just like running the motion poorly. But like generally what you should be doing is trying to build new product and get more money. Like, and like you won't get the money if it doesn't provide value. So like it doesn't really matter. Like I think this is a guy that just saw his Amex bill and got a little
That's what I was
butthurt or
gonna
something.
I think this is charged. Yeah, I think he's not happy with the features being locked.
I do want to say real quick one thing that I thought was really interesting. And this is more applies to you, Zach, than to I guess like me and first job, but someone who's doing really interesting pricing experimentation constantly that I've been creeping on is Chase Moseni with Creative OS. Every week when you open his site and his pricing page, there's always some crazy new shit going on. He's always testing like very interesting offers, and he has a lifetime offer going right now. I've just been like opening his page and going back to see like what experiments is Chase running right now. It's really interesting. He thinks a lot about pricing, and I'm just looking like look at his plans are always changing, and you guys should have him on and talk about his pricing experiments as the next one.
Potentially, I think experimentation's good, but like maybe focus on product more. Generally.
Damn.
Oh my god, dude, that has to be the end. That was the perfect ending to this podcast. That was the perfect ending. Oh my god. All right, Dad, you did us
Wait,
a solid.
I didn't know. Are you guys competitive? Are you guys competitive? Is that? Wait, was that?
I mean, I don't think so.
Nah, they're friends. They're friends.
Yeah, no, friends. But like, I mean, my general, like, I mean, we're not even running a pricing experiment. We're just literally after I get up this call, I'm getting on a dev call and we're going to try credit card up front for free trial. That's our big change that's coming. So we'll see. Maybe by next week, I'll have a Lamborghini in the back. So
this is great. This is great. I gotta jump. Thank you guys for having me. This is fun. This is a cool jam. This is a very good hang.
See you.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
See you guys.